What's up everyone, it's Austin here from Make Pop Music and Austin Hall Audio, and we are back with another video. And for today's video, I want to go over some of the steps and tips that you can use to take an acapella or a simple vocal idea and actually transform that into a fully produced song. We get a lot of questions on how do you build a song around a vocal idea that you already have, and we've actually worked the opposite way a ton, where we have a full production and then we kind of write vocals on top of that. But I figured today I'd flip that on its head. I'd show you what it's like to actually start with a vocal idea and then start to build around that. So we're going to take an acapella, I'm going to show you how to find a tempo, how to find a key, how to start putting some things together to establish a vibe, and then how to structure that acapella into a full produced song. So we're going to take a look at some of the things today. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below so I can help you out with any of those. But other than that, without further ado, let's hop into Cubase so I can show you how to turn an acapella into a full song. Let's check it out. All right, so we're in Cubase right now, and I want to talk about kind of some of the steps of laying down the acapella and then kind of producing to that. But obviously for step number one, we have to talk about writing the vocal, right? So if you're going to use an acapella that you download, that's also totally fine. But for this, we're going to be working off of a vocal idea that I had. I was just sitting on the couch one night and kind of had some lyrics and a melody come to mind. So I just wrote them on this little Google document right here. And luckily I had a melody already come to mind when I was writing the lyrics. So in my head, it kind of just came out as, now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. So luckily, it was already pretty fleshed out for me. Really, that's as hard as it is to lay down a vocal melody in your head. You just have to write the lyrics and then come up with a melody, and then it's just getting it into your DAW. So step number one, come up with the actual vocal. Step number two is going to actually help us with getting that into our DAW. So I'm using Cubase, but the first thing that you really have to do before you track something up or before you drag it in is figure out what tempo you're at, right? So in my head, I was already hearing this as, now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. And that to me, I kind of knew off of the top of my head, I was going to be between 90 and 100. So we'll try it at 100. I'll mute this vocal so you can kind of hear it. Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I was like, that feels a little too fast. It's a little too upbeat. The song's kind of sad. So I tried 90. Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me. And that's like dragging. Like, that's not going to do it for me. So I landed on 95. This tempo felt good. Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me. Don't know what I'm supposed to do. So once you get that tempo set, it's really easy for you to either drag in your acapella if you've taken it on like a voice memo, or you're downloading an acapella, or you're singing it yourself. So I landed on 95. Now comes step number three, and that's actually getting your vocal into your session so you have something to start working to. So here's what we have. I just have a clean vocal that was literally tracked only to the metronome. And then for my mic chain coming in, I'm using the new Lauten 1040. It's their new tube and FET mic. It sounds insane. I was using it on the clear setting here, and it just worked so well. And then that's going into a Heritage Audio HA81A, and that's a preamp and an EQ, but I didn't have the EQ engaged, so it's just like a 1073 style preamp. And that's what we get for this vocal. I was just saying that because I know I'm going to get questions on it. And so here's what we have straight in. Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. So now that we've got the vocal in there, let's talk about tip number four, and that is finding the key. You could use something like Auto Key by Antares. It's super easy to use, or you could use something like Scalar. However, this is a pretty simple melody, and it's kind of using every note of the key that we would need to determine where it is. So I'm seeing right here that we've got an A, we've got a B, we've got a C sharp, we have an E, and the really important note that's telling us where we're going to lie is this D, right? So I'm going to say that we are in A major, because that gives us the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and then we'd have the 6 and the 7 that we're not really using. 7 would be the G sharp, and then the 6, I believe, would be the F sharp. So here's what we have now. Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking, don't know what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, we're in A major, and then once we have that key, this is really where we can start producing to the song. So far, we've had to write the vocal, we've had to figure out what the tempo is going to be, what the key is going to be, and we have to get a vocal in there. Now we have this, we can start playing around with chord progressions and melodies and things like that. So let's move on to tip number 5. Now for tip number 5, this is going to be playing around with chords. I like to start with like just a simple bass or like even a bass line, something that can kind of give me whatever the root notes are going to be. Sometimes, you know, if you're good with piano and if you're good with music theory, you can pull up a piano and you can start laying down whole chords. Sometimes I'm able to do it. For this song, probably would be because it's in A major and I kind of write in that key a lot. But I just want to kind of show you some of the steps and the processes. So typically what I'll do when I have just a top line that I'm working off of is I'll try to establish a couple vibes and see what I want. So for chord progression number 1, we've just got this big bass pad.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true. Now every day that passes by.
So that's going to be the kind of dark vibe that we work with. So for this one, we're going to be using D, which is the 4, I believe. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it'd be the 4 to the 6 to the 5 to the 1. So let's see.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true.
So we could use that vibe. I just want to give myself options. So what I'll do is pick a whole different patch and then lay down something that feels a little bit more upbeat. So we have kind of a dark pop vibe and an indie pop vibe. And here we go. This is going to be the bass line that kind of focuses more on feeling like it's in A major.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true.
So if we're in the key of A major, it's going to be 1, 5, 6, 4.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm.
So we've at least got a couple different chord progressions we can work off of. Now this is really where you have to decide where you're going to go. You have to decide what the vibe is going to be. So step 6, now that I've got options, I can decide the vibe. If I want to go with the dark pop route, I can. If I want to go with the indie pop route, I can. Or you could keep trying until you figure out something that you really, really like. In this video, I'm going to kind of go through the rest of the steps with both different versions just to show you how to kind of build each one out respectively. But this is typically the point in the song where you need to really focus on, okay, what is the production going to sound like? Which chord progression do I actually want to go with? What is the percussion going to sound like when it does come in a couple steps? And this is really where you have to kind of pick your fork in the road. So let's go ahead and let's move on. Once you pick your vibe, this is where you can start introducing melodies, themes, motifs, little synth lines, extra chords. And so I'm going to drag these in because I've already kind of built these out ahead of time just to save you a little bit of time. But I'm going to show you what each little vibe sounds like, right? So we can start with the dark pop one because if I was releasing this as an artist, that's probably where I would go first. So I'll take the bass line and then I'll take this little lead and these pads. So now we have some chords, we have a lead, and we have a bass line.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true.
And then this is also too where I'd pop on like a more creative vocal chain. So let's go ahead and let's just put the dark pop vocal chain on. It's going to have a lot more room and reverb.
Close to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true.
So for this 7th tip, we're really here focusing on what this top melody is going to do because this is kind of giving us the feeling of the song. Now it's not just a bass line. So that's kind of where I would go with a vibe like this. Still on tip number 7, let's just talk a little bit about what it would sound like if we did the indie pop vibe. So here's what it sounds like if we kind of focus on the indie pop vibe.
Now I'm a ghost to you, I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true. Now every day that...
So as you can see, since we've cemented the vibe in one or the other, and we started to add these leads, like I have this for the indie pop lead.
I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true.
Now that we have chords, we have a lead melody, we have a little bass line, and we have a vibe, one or the other. We definitely wouldn't be doing both unless you just wanted to shoot them out at the end. Let's talk about laying on some rhythms. So we can start with the indie pop vibe because that was the last thing we showed. So typically what I'll do is just pull up a kick and a snare and kind of see if anything comes to mind. Here's, the vibe for the drums. We could have it sound like this.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed.
You could also, one thing that I like to do is just to kind of experiment with having the snares in a different spot. So we'll kind of do a little halftime vibe where we have the snare on the 3 instead of on the 2 and 4. So we could have like this.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Definitely don't like that for this more upbeat indie pop reference. I'll lay in some hi-hats just to give it some movement.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors.
So now that I've shown you what I would have done with the percussion on the indie pop vibe, let's go to this more dark pop. I get like R&B, hip hop driven vibe. Again, same top line, but we're gonna put the kick and the snare in a different spot, use some different samples, and use some different hi-hats.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors, now I'm back in, tell me it wasn't true. Now every day that passes by feels like I want.
So this is kind of going more along that halftime vibe. You could even mix and match some elements, so I don't know how this is gonna sound. I haven't tried it off camera, but let's just drag in that indie pop lead and see how it sounds.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing rumors.
I guess you could, I don't love it, but again, if you're starting to build out different vibes, you can always mix and match things. You can take chord progressions and then use them later in a song for a bridge or for a pre-chorus, but we'll get to that in just 1 second. I just wanted to go ahead and highlight how big of a difference percussion vibes can change it. Because if we take these indie pop drums and we put them on this hip hop kind of musical bed.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm hearing.
It just kind of really displays how important every step of the process is and how every decision that you make is really going to add to whatever the final vibe of the song is. Now, once you've done all of that, you have your main rhythms, you have your main chord progressions, you have a bass line, you have your melody laid down. Now you can start figuring out how you want to structure the song. And if I'm starting with one idea, whether that's a verse or a chorus or a bridge, whatever that singular idea is, this is where I'll start to kind of focus on writing the rest of the song. So this would be where I pull up my document and I figure out, okay, is what I have now, is that going to be a verse? Is that going to be a chorus? Is it going to be a pre-chorus? And then what I'll do is I'll take some of these different production elements and I'll just start scattering them. So I'm a big fan of kind of like the add 4 method, which is where you just like add something new every 4 bars. So we could always, take something like this bass line and these synths and kind of leave that nice and open and ambient. And we could have this. We could have something like this with a vocal.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know.
Then we could pull in the drums for the second half.
Like I'm losing ground. I thought when all was said and done that we could just work it out.
Then you have to focus on, okay, how big do I want the chorus to get? How small do I want these verses to get? But this is where I start focusing on, okay, we're probably going to have verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus 2, chorus 2, bridge. Do we have an intro? Do we have an outro? And what I'll do is I'll start to just kind of write all of that down so I can figure out what the full vibe is going to be. And then I'll take some of the elements that I've already got working with, and this is where I'll really start to kind of layer things, which gets us on to our last step of the process, and that is adding your production. So once I have all of the kind of main elements picked out, which is what we've done this entire video, and then I have the structure kind of laid out on paper, and I've started to piece things together in my actual session, that's when I'll go through and I'll start layering things like synths. I'll start adding little counter melodies here and there. I'll start thinking about vocal production, and then this is typically the step that takes the longest. So you should be able to kind of take something like this little vocal idea right here.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see.
And start putting some chords and some percussion and some vibes on it. Honestly, within like 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy. You just want to really figure out what your parameters are going to be so you don't get lost in the shuffle.
Now I'm a ghost to you. I see you looking through me, don't know.
And then for step 10, that's really where you can dive in and you can really start having fun. So I'm not going to show you how to produce out everything for this top line right here. We've done tons of videos on how to produce a song from the step that it is right now, which is just kind of like a rough demo, building it out into a full thing. So if you want, you can go check out the channel. But yeah, that pretty much does the 10 steps. Let me go over this and make sure I didn't leave anything out for you. But yeah, that's pretty much all that goes into it. There you have it. Those are my 10 steps that I like to use when I'm starting with an acapella or starting with a vocal idea and fleshing it out into a full song. Again, we don't really have the time to actually build out the entire song on this video. However, you can use these steps for every individual part of the song. So finding a vibe for the verse, finding a vibe for the chorus. It's really just about having that vocal idea, establishing the key, establishing the chord progressions that you're going to use, establishing the kind of vibe that you want the song to have, and then you can just start filling that in with production. Keep it in mind that once you have a vocal idea, the quicker that you can start to kind of conceptualize how the rest of the song will sound, the easier it's going to be for you to actually nail that down once you get into the studio. So try to go in with a game plan, try to go in where you can just find the actual structural elements and build it right out. But other than that, that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us out a ton. If you want to share the video with your friends, that also helps us a ton. If you want to support the channel, you can head over to makepopmusic.com. You can check out all of our free and paid content over there. And other than that, let us know in the comments if you have any questions or what videos you want to see in the near future, and we will be back next Friday with another video. But until then, stay safe, everyone. Much love. Peace out.